Top 10 Things Surprising Facts About Queen Elizabeth II. Hey everyone, welcome to our channel. If you're new here, welcome, and consider subscribing to my channel and click that little bell notification below. Over approximately 1,200 years, England and Britain have had 61 monarchs. Now it's 62, as the British royal family announced on September 8, 2022, that Queen Elizabeth II had passed away at 96. So there's no better time to talk about the Queen than now. Let me tell you some surprising things you didn't know about her. So sit back, relax, and watch the whole video. Number 10. Few things about her birth. She was the first child of the Duke and Duchess of York, the future King George VI and Queen Elizabeth. Yes, the Queen's mother was also Elizabeth. She was born the eldest granddaughter of King George V in a townhouse at 17 Bruton Street in Mayfair, London. The place belonged to her Scottish maternal grandparents, the Earl and Countess of Strathmore, on April 21, 1926. In 1937, the house was demolished. There's now an office building and a Chinese restaurant on that site. The fun fact is that she had two birthdays. Her actual birthday is April 21st, and one of her official birthdays was held on a Saturday in June, when the weather was nicer. Since 1748, the monarch has celebrated their birthday in June because the weather is nice and they can enjoy a proper celebration. Number 9. She was homeschooled. Like many other royals of her era, young Elizabeth never attended public school and was never exposed to other students. Instead, she was taught at home alongside her more youthful sister, Margaret. Her father, a senior teacher at Eton College, and several French and Belgian governesses taught her French. The Archbishop of Canterbury, who taught her religion, was also among those who taught her. The two kids were given lessons in history, language, literature, and music. Elizabeth's education also included lessons in writing, swimming, dancing, and the study of fine art. Number 8. She wasn't queen just for England. Her father, King George VI, died on February 6, 1952, at 56, while Elizabeth was in Kenya with her husband, Prince Philip. On June 2, 1953, Queen Elizabeth II was crowned at Westminster Abbey in central London. Queen became the chief of power of 7 independent Commonwealth nations: the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Pakistan, and Ceylon, now known as Sri Lanka. Later, she became the queen of 54 Commonwealth countries. Number 7. Her love story with King Philip. When Elizabeth was 8 years old and Philip was 13, they met at the wedding of Prince George, Elizabeth's brother, and Princess Marina, Philip's cousin. Both Elizabeth and Philip are third cousins. When Philip was 18, he began writing to Elizabeth, who was then 13 years old. Then they got engaged 7 years later. Elizabeth and Prince Philip were married for over 70 years, a union that outlasted the marriages of 3 of her 4 children: Charles, Anne, and Andrew. On their 50th wedding anniversary, the Queen said of Philip, "He has simply been my strength and stay all these years." Number 6. Her service in the army. We all know that the Queen served as the military commander of the United Kingdom, but this is a different story. Previous princesses, such as Princess Patricia of Connaught, had also served as honorary colonel-in-chief of a military regiment. Still, Queen Elizabeth II took a more active role during World War II. She joined the Auxiliary Territorial Service as a second subaltern in 1945, where she learned to drive and service vehicles. She was promoted to junior commander 5 months later. On Victory in Europe Day, she attended street parties in London while dressed in her military uniform. Number 5. Queen and animals. The Queen enjoyed dogs, but nothing surpassed her affection for corgis. During her reign as Queen, she owned more than 30 corgis. Princess Diana reportedly referred to the dogs as the Queen's moving carpet because they accompanied her everywhere. The most she's ever owned at one time was 13. When her corgi mated with a dachshund owned by her sister, Princess Margaret, she created the Dorgie, a new breed. Her grandfather, King George V, gave the Queen her first horse, a Shetland pony named Peggy, and she's been riding them ever since. She also had an elephant, 2 giant turtles, a jaguar, and a pair of sloths. These were all gifts from other countries, and they all live at the London Zoo. Number 4. Her wedding. When she married Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, in 1947, she received over 2,500 wedding gifts. She had to return donations from women all over the country because members of the royal family are not permitted to accept public gifts. Elizabeth's diamond tiara snapped as it was caught on her veil on the morning of her wedding in 1947. The headpiece was a halo of diamond-studded spikes created in 1919 for Elizabeth's grandmother, Queen Mary. Then they rushed to the workshop of the royal jewelry house, Gerard, under police escort, and they hastily welded them together. Number 3. The secret behind bright colors. You must have noticed that the Queen wears bright color outfits with matching hats. There's a reason why she dresses in bright pink, yellow, and green. It's for her to always stand out in a crowd. Because she's pretty short, wearing neon and pastel colors allows people to catch a glimpse of her during public appearances. Number 2. She was the first monarch of a few things. On September 9, 2015, Elizabeth II surpassed her great-great-grandmother, Queen Victoria's, nearly 64-year reign to become the longest-reigning monarch in British and Commonwealth history. And she held the record for the most countries visited by an individual monarch, more than 120 on 6 continents. She was the first monarch to be crowned during a live television broadcast. Her coronation took place in Westminster Abbey on June 2, 1953. She was also the first monarch of Canada. On October 14, 1957, Queen Elizabeth II became the first sovereign to open a session of Canada's Parliament personally. She read the speech from the throne, a duty usually performed by her Canadian representative, the Governor-General. Number 1. The world loved her for many things. Throughout her reign, the Queen has sat for over 200 official portraits. Her first photograph was taken in 1933 when she was only 7 years old. When the Queen's weekend residence, Windsor Castle, was destroyed by a fire in 1992, the public revolted against paying millions of pounds for repairs. However, she voluntarily agreed to pay tax on her personal income. She also opened her home at Buckingham Palace to the public for the first time to raise additional funds through admission fees. She also was inevitably the subject of pop songs. The Beatles immortalized her with the tongue-in-cheek Her Majesty, calling her a pretty nice girl, even though she doesn't have a lot to say. The brief song, recorded in 1969 and sung by Paul McCartney, appeared at the end of the Abbey Road album. The anti-monarchist song, God Save the Queen, released just before the Queen's Silver Jubilee in 1977, was banned on British television. So that's all for today's video. If you made it this far, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon for more awesome content. Thanks for watching!